Power Automate is useful to automate various business workflows. Here is a simple scenario where we could use Power Automate to automate our task. A simple example would be a participant wants to attend a workshop. In order to attend the workshop, he or she needs to get permission from his manager. So the participant is requested to fill a Microsoft Forms in which the participant makes a request to attend a specific workshop, and that request is sent to the manager for approval. Based on the response of the manager, whether the request is approved or rejected, an email confirmation is sent to the participant. How to do this? In order to do this, you would need a Microsoft Forms. You also need to know who is the manager or the responsible person who is going to approve the request. In this example scenario, we will use my email as the participant email as well as the manager's email. Let's do this as a practical example now. Here is a simple Microsoft Forms. This form says request to attend a workshop, and the participant has to fill the name, workshop details, and the date of the workshop and submit. So this is a form, very simple form to be used by the participant to fill in the request. So let's go on to do certain things right now. So in order to do these things, we will start with a Power Automate system. Okay. In the Power Automate system, we can create certain flows here. So if you go to Power Automate, it will be like this. You click on create. You have many types of flows. We are going to use what is called as an automated cloud flow. Before we start this, we are going to create in the SharePoint, go to the SharePoint page, create a site. Okay, and you will choose what is called as a team site. Choose a standard team, use template here, and let's call it as a manager's site. Okay, so you will say manager's site. Once it is ready, you could click next, and you could make the site available public, and then you could say create site. It might take few minutes to do it or few seconds. If you want to add members who could be your co-owners to the site, you could do that. Let's say finish. And then now the site is ready. This is the manager site. In the manager site, I'm going to create what is called as a list. Okay, let me close this. We can click new, create list. And this time you're going to create the list from an Excel file. So let's click on from Excel. Click upload file. So we are going to use this file here. So what is the content of this file? Let's see what is the content of that Excel file. So in this Excel file, you will see this is the first name, last name, email address, department, school, job title, and the manager email. As I have told you earlier, I'm using my own email as my source email as well as the manager email. Okay, so you have clicked in the Excel here, open the Excel file. You need to choose a table here, convert it into a tabular format. So select all the fields, including the header, and you can click on this, format as table. So choose whichever options you like. Say my table has headers, click OK. And here you have the table with you. Okay, the table is ready. You can click refresh. It might take some few seconds to appear here. So once it is done, now you have the Excel file where you have the table. So you can have the table like this. Click next, and you can give it a name. Let's say I'm going to call it as list of managers, for example. Okay, you could give any name here. So, and that's done. So you have created a site, you have created a list which contains the name of the participant or the email of the participant as well as the manager's name. Let's say that you got it wrong here. For example, my email is wrong. You could click on it. You could edit it here. Right? You can change it. So in my case, I'm going to use ismail.bukhari@staff.utb.edu.bn. So you can save it. You can make corrections, you could correct them as well. So let's go back to the flow. Now that we have a site which has a list. Now we go to the flow. We click on automated cloud flow. Let's call this as we are making a request for workshop. So let's say request for workshop attendance, or let's say request for workshop. And here you got to choose when a new response is submitted from the Microsoft Forms. Okay, click create. So here is my Power Automate platform. So you can just drag it up. So this is ready. Click on this. So you got to choose your form here, right? So it might choose you a lot of forms here. You need to choose the right form, which is this one, request to attend a workshop. In case this form does not appear, then you go to your design here. Okay, you can go and copy whatever is after the ID. Whatever is after ID equal, you copy this and you can paste it here. Okay. Sometimes this might not be ready. So then you need to make sure you are connected, you are logged in. So now this is ready. You have a trigger. This is called as a trigger, which will activate when you have a response. Once you have a response, it will activate. The next step you are going to do, you are going to get the response from the form itself. So we can say get response details. So click on the plus, which is add an action. Let's get response details. I'm going to get this, which is under Microsoft Forms. So in here, again, need to choose the form here. So which is request to attend a workshop. And then here you can click on this and you choose response ID. So you're going to click like this. Click this, click the response ID, click on this icon here, right? And choose the response ID. So basically, whatever you have submitted in the response, you can receive it here. So now you have the response details here. So once this is ready, the next step is to know who is the manager of that response. Okay, click on this. So now type get items. So you're going to use get items from SharePoint. Sometimes you might find multiple get items. So choose the get items here. And what is the site address? We did create a new site, which is here, which is called manager site. So let's see whether you have the manager site, which is not here. So go to the browser, copy until here. Okay, copy until the manager site, and then you can use enter custom value and paste that site here. Once you have pasted, you can wait, you can click on the list name. It brings me the list of managers. Okay, so that's also selected now. Then you can click on advanced properties, choose filter query. Right, click outside. Okay, so now I'm going to type here some things. Okay, I'm going to say field number 2 equal to, and click this. Basically, I want it to be equal to the response ID, or I can get the participant's name, responder's email. I can use this, right? So we need to separate, close it with the quotes, single quote. Right. So this is done. So we are getting the get items here. Okay, let's see what you get here. Let's make sure this works, right? At every step, you can check whether it works by adding a compose, adding an action called compose under data selection. Okay, here is a compose. So here, I just want to print what I got in the previous line. Okay, so let's say I want to just see, so I want to get, imagine I want to get the manager email here. Okay, just click this. You might wonder why it became for each, because if my name appears multiple times, it will give me multiple answers. You need to save this. You need to save. Once you save, it might give you some errors. If there is errors, you can check it up. And now I'm going to click on test. Okay. You're going to manually test it. Click S. So it's going to wait until I submit the form. So let's go here. Let's say participant name is Bahari, attending Power Automate, right? And then you're going to say date of the workshop, Let's choose 17th and submit. So once you're done, your response is submitted. You can come back to this. It might take some few seconds. So you can see here it worked. And you can see, click on this to see the outputs. So here it says field 2, and let's see what is the output. So output email is my email. As I've told you, this is the same person to whom I'm going to send the approval. So click on edit here. So now I don't need this actually. So I can just click on these 3 dots. I can just delete it because I don't want to see my manager's email. So once I get the email, my next step is to do approval. So just say approval, start and wait for an approval. Don't choose approval of text, okay? Choose this one. So here, what is approval? You want to have approve or reject first person to respond. All right, so once you do this, it will ask you a few questions here. So request, you can say title is request for workshop attendance, okay? Request to attend a workshop. Right, assign to, here is where the manager's email you have to specify. So you can click this and say okay, so I'm just writing the manager's email. Then you can just give some details. Right, you can just say approval. You can click on this. If you have an approval history, you can bring it here. If not, we can leave it here. So you are waiting for approval from the user. So let's give a detail here. Request to attend a workshop, right? Titled. Can click here, get the workshop details here. Okay, workshop details, and then on, let's say the date. Click this, and here is the date of the workshop, and that's it. So you can send it over now. So when you click this, so now this is actually sending a request to the manager. Once the manager responds, right, we'll get a response. So let's start the next one as well. Here you say condition, search for conditions. So you can choose condition under control. The condition would be, right, click this. So that will be a response from here, right? So you can click this, you will see it says responses, okay? Or if you want to choose others, you could also do that. So for example, you can change here, go back here and choose response outcome. Choose the outcome here. Outcome is equal to approve, right? So this is the condition I'm checking. If it is true, I'm going to send an email, okay? Send an email. So send an email using Office 365 Outlook V2, right? To whom I should send this email? I should send this email to the person who actually sent me the request, correct? So I can, in this case, I can write here like this, okay? And you can say request to attend a workshop. So you can say here request approved. Why it's approved? Because we say under true and the condition is outcome is approved. If the outcome is rejected, then that won't be true, so it will come here false. So again I'm going to send an email V2. So I can send an email to the same person. And you can say here request to attend a workshop, request rejected. So if you want to specify in detail, you can also write here workshop details or workshop name, for example. You can click this and you can get the workshop name here and workshop date. Here is the date of the workshop. So you can do the same here as well. You can actually copy it from here. Just go here, copy this. Back and just copy paste it here. So it will give you approval, which is approved, which is rejected, and so on. Right, there is something more you can also do here. Right, so if let's say I don't want to physically enter the email address, I can click on this, can go all the way down and get the responder's email here. Okay, this will be the email of the person who sent the request. So you can go here. Same you could do for the rejection as well. Click on switch to advanced mode, click on this, click on this dynamic one. You can choose the responder's email here. So it's all done. Now we can save. If there is an error, you will get an error right now. If it is okay, we'll say your flow is ready to go. Right? So let's test this. So I'm doing manually, but you don't need to do manually because the trigger is when you submit a form. Okay. So when I'm here, I'm going to copy the link here. Just open the link. I'm going to submit a new request. Right. So let's me write a request. So let's say Moodle workshop, and I'm going to give some date here. Let's say 19, for example, and I submit. So let's go back to Power Automate, see what happens there. So it has gone through certain steps, and now it's going for start and wait for an approval. So if you now look at my email, here is my email here, right? So you would see I have a request to approval received. See, here is a request to attend a workshop, right? So I could either approve it or reject it. Let's say I'm giving approved and say okay to attend, for example. Just submit. Okay, once that is done, you will see it's all done here. It has sent to me back an email as well. So if I go back to my email, I should have got an email back says request approved. So it mentions that my request has been approved. So the whole idea is this. Let me just summarize what happens here. If you submit a form, a trigger happens here. It gets whomever submits a form, the participant name is requested or obtained. From the response, you will also want to get who is the manager of that person, and then you send a request for approval. If the approval gets approved, then you send an email saying it's approved. If the approval gets rejected, also you send an email called rejected. I hope this makes the process clear. You can always edit it, right? There are a few things you can do in Power Automate. You can click back, right? You can see how many times this has been run. You have run this flow 2 times. So this is the second time we did. You see what happened. You can check the output of each one by looking at or by clicking on each action, and you can see what is the input, what is the output, and so on. Thank you so much.